Good ideas.
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Chairman, I'll be happy to respond to some of the issues raised by members of the committee. But first of all, simply to outline the fact that the accounts that we're looking at here show the benefit of the government's continued focus over a 3 to 4 year period since it's been in office, on considered and consistent change in the economy. We've had considerable headwinds in the aftermath of the global financial crisis. That's made it difficult for government as well as households and businesses to achieve the aspirations that they had. But the government has stuck to a pretty straightforward plan right through that period, which we have every confidence is bearing fruit now and will continue to do so. And there's any number of examples I could give, but one example I would use is around infrastructural investment, where despite difficult times for the government's books, the government committed early on to a range of investments in transport, and broadband and energy, and it has stuck to that plan. The projects are funded, they're underway, some of them are completed. The industry and the country know that that process will continue with some confidence. Mr Speaker, Mr Chairman, just to pick up a few of the comments made by members of the committee, I was interested in the member from the far north, worried about the government's, in his words, lack of interest in creating jobs. A member who spends a great deal of his time in the far north making sure no jobs are created, leading the movement that opposes, for instance, the exploitation of minerals or oil and gas, not just in the far north, but also off the east coast of the North Island. The fact is, jobs flow from investment, and if you don't have investment, you don't get jobs, and that means your 17-year-old in Kaikohe just has less prospect if there's less investment. And it would be worthwhile a member spending a bit of time just seeing how that linkage works. Wishing for jobs doesn't create them. We've also heard from the member from New Zealand First about the so-called manufacturing crisis. If there was a crisis of the sort that he was describing, then I could understand the level of concern that the opposition is showing. However, it's not the case. Of course, it's difficult for manufacturing, not just manufacturing. It's been difficult for everybody in an economy that's had a significant recession with a relatively moderate recovery from that recession. What the members should be learning, I think, from that inquiry is the resilience that so many manufacturers and exporters have shown. If they hadn't been very resilient, we wouldn't have the revenue that is flowing through the accounts that we are discussing today. In fact, manufacturing is growing moderately. In the last quarter, the most recent employment numbers show a drop-off in the total jobs in manufacturing. But what is surprising through the last 4 or 5 years is not so much how much manufacturing has shrunk, because it hasn't. What is surprising is how well it has held up, given the difficulty of markets where demand is shrinking, including now Australia, and the headwind of a high exchange rate. It doesn't mean that some aren't shedding jobs. They are. Some businesses are going out. What is less visible are the large number of manufacturers and exporters who are actually expanding their investment and expanding their employment. One of the contributions, as I said, that they have made is a contribution to fairly steady growth in tax revenue. The government has set out to reduce taxes on work, investment and savings. That was done back in 2010, and these accounts are starting to show the fruits of the improved incentives in the economy as we see the taxes continue to grow, in fact grow just slightly faster than we might have been expecting, and that is why we remain on track to surplus.
I call Todd McClay.
Very much. It's a pleasure to stand and speak in this debate. And I want to commend the last speaker, the Minister of Finance, Bill English, thank him for the great job he's done on behalf of New Zealanders over the last 4 years. You see, there's a member opposite